Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. A lot to talk about today. A lot to talk about it today as I have it fresh in my mind. A lot to talk about. We'll just wait for people to come in, get their notifications. This time it's not a test live. Just give me 1 second. Let me put on my headphones. Plug them in. Bluetooth. Bluetooth. Come on, connect. There we go. There we go. Nice. Connected. Cool, cool. A lot to talk about today. A lot of talk. Hey, Louise. Good morning. Good morning. True Crime Girl, good morning. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate it. Native Girl, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it. So I'm just going to jump right into it, okay? Because I got a lot. There's a lot to talk about. But I want to go over this little document right here. Well, not little document, but I want to go over this document. And let's see. It's like a PDF straight from the DA's office. And it's like how the cases go, which is pretty interesting, of a felony case. They put like the life of a criminal case, felony case. So I think they're trying to be a little snarky there. So where we're at right now with the Jake and Haro case, we're at the offenses, boom, and then it goes into initial filing, arraignment, felony statement conference, and then the preliminary hearing. So that's the next one. That's the next phase of this case. It's these ones, these two right here. September, what did I say? 14th, 15th? 15th, 16th? 16th, 17th. Yeah, September 16th is going to be the felony settlement conference. And I was looking at this earlier, which is pretty interesting. So when that's going to be on September 16th. Pretty much what it says, it takes place before the preliminary hearing. It's an informal discussion between the prosecution and the defense attorneys in front of the judge in which they exchange information and try to negotiate a resolution to the case. So that right there tells me that there could be trigger warning a plea deal. Even though the DA has said that they're not interested in a plea deal, I mean, it's still possible that in this felony settlement conference where they talk about it, I don't know if they, from what changed from the press conference to what's going to happen on the 16th. I mean, we never know, right? I mean, they could say like, well, here's the body, here's what we did. I mean, full confessions. I don't know, but that's still, it's possible that they could, have a plea agreement. It's possible. So I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what transpires there, and then after that on the 17th, if all goes through, according to the calendar, because sometimes they don't go as planned. It'll be the first preliminary hearing, and pretty much the preliminary hearing is not a trial. Okay, that's important. It's not the trial. It's a hearing in which a court at which witnesses testify. So see, there's going to be the witnesses. That's going to be interesting too. And then the judge decides if there's enough evidence to require the defendants to stand trial. And the judge in this case, it's Gary Polk judge. So when I was in the courtroom, I mean, he was all business. He's like all business. Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Okay, how do you want? He's straight to the point, by the book. Uh, I mean, so it'll be interesting what he decides. Then if there's enough evidence to go forward with it, and that's when we're gonna hear some of the some of the evidence, not everything, but some of the evidence in which they said, okay, look, we have enough evidence to move forward. So I do want to be there for that, and I do want to see what evidence, if enough evidence, the judge decides that, okay, yeah, we're going to move forward. Who the witnesses are, forensics, GPS, whatever, you name it. I mean, they have to present something, right, in order for them to move forward. So I want to be there for that. I want to see what they have, because we're all wondering what they have. And make sure you guys sub up and put on notifications, because you know me, once I get out of the courtroom, and I mean, I'm going live. I'm going live because it's fresh in my mind. I don't want to wait. I don't talk to anybody. I just go straight to the live and put the information as fresh as I can. Uh, yeah, no worries. Always, I appreciate that. I have a lot of people on replay, so this is for the replay crew. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. I have a lot of people on replay. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Everybody here supporting for the cause of baby Emmanuel. I know a lot of people were asking why I say it differently than what they've heard before, and it's just a word of endearment. It's saying Emmanuelito. We call kids and your nieces and nephews. We call them with that like, what is it, suffix or something, like, with the Emmanuelito. It's just a word of endearment, meaning baby, like baby boy, baby, like a child, pretty much. So it's just a word of endearment. But back to this right here, it'll be interesting, be super interesting to hear what they have, because I at this point it's going to be like a no body crime. I'm thinking. I mean, unless they find the body from here to there, but even then, they should represent themselves. I can't rewind from the beginning. Oh, you can't? That's weird. That sucks. Yeah, just hang out. I mean, I just started the live, so I mean, it's pretty much. I'm pretty much just going over what the steps are for the judicial proceedings of a felony case. So a lot of people like to jump around and say this or that. So I wanted to go to the website, to the actual source, to the DA, and figure out, okay, what do we have here? What's going to happen? What are we looking forward to? And yeah, I mean, it's some interesting things, and I'm learning along the way, and I want to be able to form good habits, get information that's from the DA, get information that's reliable sources. And I might not be the first one to break it, other than being out of court, which that one's huge. Again, make sure you have your notifications on and sub up, because once I get out of the courtroom, I'm live, and my mind is fresh, and that's when I like to present the information. And we're going to hear some new evidence, I think. I hope. I mean, that's what it is, right? That's what it says right here from the DA's website. So that'll be interesting. But I was over there at the in Riverside County. I was at the court. I did see Jake and Rebecca in court, and I had some of my thoughts earlier when I got out of the uh, the court, and I did see them, and I know people were asking, like, how they were, what they looked like, what uh, if they saw each other, this, that, or the other. So, um, it's if you have any questions regarding that, of like just what I saw, feel free to drop a comment, and I'll try to answer it as best as I can while it's still fresh in my mind. But pretty much, it's a different vibe. It's a different world in there in the courtroom, and it's just not anything that I've seen on TV or in an article or a picture or on my phone. It's completely different just being in the courtroom and actually seeing Jake and Rebecca there live. It's really mind blowing. Um, it's I wanted to say this too. Um, when I had like my thoughts gathered more, I've never ever 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 been scared of anybody. Just I have never been. I don't have that in me to where I'm scared of somebody to, or just anything, or anything. There's solutions for anything. But when I was in the courtroom, listen to this. I was scared of Jake. I was scared of him. There's something about the guy where he's a scary looking vibe. Not necessarily the way he looks, but the way his energy is, his presence. It's like meeting the devil face to face. It's like meeting Satan face to face. He's like right there within a few arm reaches. He's right there, and I've never felt that way before with anybody. Like in the presence of anybody, I've never felt like that with anybody except for him. And it's just a weird, eerie feeling being around somebody like that who's been convicted before of child abuse and crimes like that, and seeing them there in the courtroom, and it's just a different world in there. But yeah, I felt scared, is what I want to say, and I want to be honest. I want to be honest with that, and that's how I felt. Um, and yeah, Rebecca was in the same room, and they're being represented for the same lawyers that were representing the Turpin case. If you guys remember that, in Paris, in California, there was like 12 children, and I'll touch on this case just a little bit because there's like I just can't check because I'm driving. Yeah, no worries, Kim. Welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you coming in. And I know I have a lot of replay crew. The replay crew is amazing. So I really appreciate you again. And I want to say special thanks to Kate. Kate, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate you supporting the channel, supporting the cause, Emmanuelito, Justice for Emmanuel. And, thank you so much for your donation on the PayPal. I really appreciate you. I'm really thankful. And I don't take it lightly when people donate or when people give me that type of support. And I love that from you, and I thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's just I can't express myself, and I'm forever grateful for everybody. But a special thanks to Kate. Thank you so much. Another special thanks to AC too, um, for your donation. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It went a long way. Thank you so much, AC. Super appreciate it. Um, so I want to say that, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. So yeah, the Turpin case. So the lawyers from that case, Mr. Moore, he's representing Rebecca. When he was next to her, blocking people's view. And okay, I'm gonna say this first, and then I'm gonna say why I think he did that. Because the speculation was that he was blocking the cameras and the public from Rebecca seeing, um, from us seeing Rebecca. And I think it was because the lawyer wanted to block her from trying to see Jake, in my opinion. I think there's something going on because the way she was looking in the courtroom, she looked defeated. She looked like she was about to confess on the spot, in my opinion. She looked deflated. She looked beat down. She looked worn out. And earlier on one of my lives, when I got out of the courtroom, it came out where I said, she looks like God took her soul from her and isn't giving it back. That's how I saw it. So I'm like, wow, she's ready to break. So I think that the her lawyer was blocking her view, not from us, but from Jake. In my honest opinion, in my humble opinion, that's what I think. The So that was on her. And now that I'm like recalling too, now that I have had some sleep, I remember now that yeah, she was crying. She was crying. I did see residual from a tear mark from Rebecca because there were two other girls next to me. There were some TikTokers that were sitting next to me who motioned as you know with their body language. They pointed at their eye and ran it down the cheek, indicating that they saw her crying. And I looked right away. I looked and I was like, okay, I'm trying to focus. I'm trying to write notes. I'm trying to see Jake. I'm trying to hear the judge. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. But now that I recall, subconsciously, I did. Now I'm like, yeah, I did see the residual after because I'm writing notes. She did the hand, the motion. The one of the TikTokers, she like pointed kind of to Rebecca and then pointed at her cheek, and then she ran it down her cheek to her chin, indicating a teardrop. So now remember, yeah, I did see that she did have residual from crying. So, um, Mark, were you in the courtroom to see if she had more damage to her face? That's how I will word it. I heard from another person that knows the fact that she was attacked in Medline. That's possible. Always, that is possible because she's in protective custody from when I went in there. I don't know if she was before or she wasn't or she was in general pop. But when I was in there, the judge said like, yeah, he mentioned Judge Polk. He mentioned that she was in protective custody. Her face, I don't know. Um, it looked like because I only saw she was only facing the left side. She wasn't looking back at it anymore. She was just like focused on the judge, focused on the her public lawyer. But I'm not sure. I mean, I don't doubt it. I mean, those types of people, criminals, they don't get a warm welcome. Well, I'll put it that way. They're not coming with arms wide open with these types of criminals. Let's be honest. So yeah, that would be interesting. I'll look into that and I'll see if that's the case. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt that. I would not doubt that. She needs to speak up. Just throw in the towel. Yeah, Danny. You know what? That's what I felt. That's what I felt like. She was just to the point of just confessing right on the spot. She looked defeated, flat, broken down, like a boot was on her head, on her neck. That's how bad she looked. Like the pictures that you see on TV, the pictures you see on your phone, the videos you see, they don't do justice to when you're actually there and you see her in person. In person. And man, it's wild. It's wild. Like it's just pictures don't do justice to when you see that person in real life. She's there a few feet away and it's like, wow, this is like real. It's real. I know it's real on this end, but when you're there, it just hits you. It hits you like, okay, she looks flat. Let me read some of the comments. So yeah, ask any questions. I'll try to answer them best as I can. That way we can, keep the conversation going. If I can click up. Okay, yeah. Yeah, Louise, yeah, that is interesting. Little tidbits like that, it doesn't seem like much, but in my opinion it does, because you kind of see in the psyche of a person, you kind of see in their mental state. So it was interesting. I'm gonna be honest too, I did feel a little something for Rebecca. I'm gonna be honest. I want to be completely honest with my thoughts and feelings. I When I saw her, I did feel a little bit of something. Okay. What that is, I'm confused. What that isn't, I'm confused. But I did feel something for her. I did feel something there, and that's just how I felt when I was in there. But it is really Louise. Yeah, it's very interesting. Native Girl says, "I get that with his presence. I thought he was like 5 or 6'5" and not 5'10". All in all, sure, but I thought he was really tall. I saw his height on a jail report. Yeah, native girl. I thought he was tall too because a lot of people around him were shorter, but his presence is something else. It's different. It's like there's no emotion. There's no, in my opinion, a sense of remorse, a sense of acknowledgement. It's just a shell of a person with a demon inside, a sleeping demon, like just waiting to get out. That's how I felt. Hopefully, she does a full confession. That's what I'm hoping too. And I think the DA is really pushing before September 16th. I think they're really pushing for something big. Um, and I don't know. In my opinion, I really do think that she's feeling it now. The denial phase is kind of fading out, and I feel like she's the reality of it is hitting her from what I saw. Let me read comments just to scroll up. It's a little different with this stream. I have to scroll up instead of down or something like that. It's a little different. But yeah, the Turpin case. Yeah, you remember that, Louise? Yeah, it was. Hey, Delulu, how you doing? Always. I think I said everybody. I don't think I missed anybody. If I did, I apologize. Hey, Mustang, welcome in. Danny, good to see you. Welcome in. Make sure you guys hit all notifications, like and share if you can. We really greatly appreciate that for the cause. But yeah, we're just talking about what I saw in the courtroom, and excuse me. And if you have any questions, all right, no problem. And if you have any questions regarding that, I know there was questions that I had when I went live yesterday. If Jake, I guess there was a rumor or something going around that Jake like shaved his head or something, but no, he looked the same, and he was in red. Somebody in my comments was saying that if he's in red, he's in protective custody as well because he's in danger of other inmates. And yeah, that is true. So he was in all red. Uh, I think just some people misspoke, but he was in all red, and that means he's just in protective custody himself. From other inmates that want to hurt him for what because it is a high profile case. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. I mean, I just got the worst freaking vibe from the guy. I mean, you can't help but feel a certain way for him, and not in a good way. In like you're an animal type, in my opinion. I mean, he's innocent until proven guilty. We have to say that. So is Rebecca, innocent until proven guilty. But they are having their time in court. They will represent alibis and whatnot. But the DA is going to represent their case too, and it's going to be interesting to see what they have, what witnesses come forward and say. So I really want to be there for that and to share that with you right after the court. Right after the court, you know me, I like to go live and while it's fresh in my mind. So, but the lawyers they're representing Jake and Rebecca, the same ones, the same lawyers, and they look like they're ready. They look like they are ready. Mr. Moore, Rebecca's lawyer, I mean, he looks like a solid dude, and he looks like he's ready for war. And then Jake has Mrs. Allison Lowe, same from the Turpin case. Um, so that's going to be interesting. And so that's what that is as of now, because I know Mr. Hughes got and the other lawyers they got the boot. So now these are the lawyers representing Jake and Rebecca. That's two where I was a little bit confused, trying to catch up on everything. But that's who the lawyers are, and they look ready, in my opinion. They look ready. The two women, it was like her name was I think Mrs. Smith, and then Allison Moore, uh, Allison Lowe. I'm sorry, Allison Lowe. They look ready. They look ready. So we'll see what transpires with that. But they are from the Turpin case, and We all saw that. There's a lot of documentaries on that. You guys can watch that on your own. I mean, it's been talked about, and there's been lawsuits too from the Riverside County, even after they got rescued, which is insane because they got put into different foster homes that were abusing them even then. So the whole system, the foster system, when it comes to kids, it's another shit show, and it's insane too. So even after they got out of that situation, they were put into another foster care home that were physically abusing them and doing things like that. It's insane. And so, I wanted to touch up on this and I wanted to catch up on that, which, the lawyers and what I saw and things like that in the courtroom. There's a lot of bailiffs in there. There's one by one door where Jake is. There's another bailiff by the other door where Rebecca is. There's another one in the center. There's two at the door. There's 3, 4 at the outside of the door. There's more at the elevator. There's more down at the elevator. So I mean, they're protected for whatever reason. They're protecting Jake and Rebecca. For maybe people want it because it's a high profile case. People might feel a certain way about him and anger and maybe want to do things. I could see that too. Me, not personally, but I could see how someone could feel that way because of the case, and because of his prior case with their other daughter, Precious. Okay. Did I say hi to you, Mustang? Yeah, I did. Okay, cool. Let me see. Danny says, I feel bad for that girl, Vanessa, Jake's ex. She was. What does that say? I'm sorry, my computer. Okay, here we go. Vanessa ex. She was DV victim as well, and Jake did it again with baby Emmanuel. So what if she's actually innocent? You know what? It did cross my mind. I am going by what I see, and Danny, that's a very good point, and I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you for that comment because sometimes we don't want to say this or that, or if you're innocent, and I think that's why the charge of false reporting is there too. But it's hard for me personally to go any further than what it is now, because we don't have the evidence right now. I can have a thought, you can have a thought, but we don't know what the DA has. That's the thing where I'm like, okay, I'm reserving my judgment. That's why I said, okay, I feel a certain way. I feel like Rebecca this or that, but we don't know. We don't know what the DA has until that date when they have to present it to the judge. And then the judge is going to say like, okay, we have enough. What that evidence is, they're not going to say. You're not going to hear from it until you're in the courtroom. So, and it's okay. We respect here in this room, in this channel, we respect people's opinion. We're not going to bash each other. We're going to debate the idea, not the person. We're not going to personally attack somebody for what they believe or what they feel or an opinion. I'm not going to do that. I'll get rid of you. We keep it cool. We're adults here. And for the most part, again, I'll repeat this over and over again. The crew that comes in here, the replay crew, the live crew, the common crew has been really good, real respectful, real supportive. So I really appreciate everybody in here. And you're more than welcome to ask questions, or you're more than welcome to your own opinion. It's okay. It's welcome. Let's see. Luis Cueva says the foster care system. Yeah, the foster care system is something else. It's like you get taken out of one situation just to be put in another. It's wild. Always on Empty 72 says Jake has the devil in his eyes like some of the wrestlers I see on the match. Yeah, I didn't see any emotion in him. Nothing. And when I saw him yesterday, it put the pictures I saw with the baby and him in a different light. I was like, man, the baby looks scared before, right? We all kind of had that feeling like, damn, the baby looks scared. But now I'm like, the baby is scared. The baby is like looking up and like feeling. I mean, oh my God, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart knowing what I saw in Jake to now seeing the pictures with him. The baby, babies can feel your energy when like they can feel your heartbeat when you hold them, and that to me was wild. Like looking back at the pictures and seeing the baby. I mean, he looked scared. Let's see, Luis Cuevas, Danny. I think she is innocent against violence. Always on empty, justice from Emmanuel. Yeah, definitely. Spiritual warfare is real. Yeah, for sure. And for sure, Danny. I mean, always on empty. I'm sorry about that. Or, I'm sorry. Always on empty. Justice for Emmanuel. 100%. Thank you. And then Danny says, spiritual warfare is real. Definitely. But yeah, when I was in there, I gotta admit, yeah, he does, Mustang. He does. And if anybody would have a chance to be there next to me and then coming back and then doing this, you would be like, holy F. Like just you're like that baby was scared, like ishless to put it nicely. Scared. Why? Because I mean, look at his past. And like I said before, I've never been scared of anybody, but seeing him, I was scared of him. I was scared of Jake. He looked like he was about to explode any minute. Freaking wild. Um, but it's very different in the courtroom being there. I think there was another question. I think people were asking if they saw each other, and yeah, they did see each other. Well, Rebecca saw Jake. When I was in there, she, because I can't look at them both. I'm writing notes. I'm listening to the judge. I'm trying to see what he's saying, and there's a lot of legal like jargon, a lot of legal language, and I can't understand all that. And so I wanted to focus on at least Rebecca. I wanted to see her because when I first saw her, and it just blew my mind away how different she looks in real life. And so I wanted to focus on her. So when I focused on her, as Jake was leaving, he just gets up and he leaves. So I look at him, like glance at him, and he's wearing all chains. He's chained up with a lock behind him. I mean, that was wild too, just to see that up front. Hobbling over into the door to wherever they're going to take him, and he's leaving the courtroom, and Rebecca looks left at him, kind of looking at him, and it was a look of like, "How dare you? How effing dare you?" A look of like, I can't believe you. I can't believe you. Like that. That's how I took it. That's my opinion. That's my perspective. Um, so it was that was interesting. But they did see each other, or she saw him. I think he saw her as he was coming in. But again, when the public gets seated, they're already there because they're ready to go. So they were already seated. I didn't see them come in because the public, goes in last. Media has priority. Um, what does Luz say? Let's see. So I'm gonna reserve like any more feelings or anything like that on Rebecca just until the evidence comes out. Because I don't know. I really don't know what the heck is going on, and it's and let's see, Luis Cuevas. I'm not sure how to explain it to where I'm it's just I'm not excusing what is going on, what we know, but I'm also wanting to know what more evidence there is. If that makes any sense, and I apologize if it doesn't come across how I am trying to explain it. Luis Cueva says, but I believe Rebecca is complicit in not protecting Emmanuel and covering up for Jake. See, that's the thing too. It's like, what is her role, right? Because as we know, narcissists they'll gaslight you, they'll triangulate you, they'll try to make you feel bad. As we saw from Vanessa, his ex-wife, from the grandmother was saying that he would tell her nobody loves you, and that's what narcissists do. They break you down, they gaslight you, they come they snap at you for problems just to for you to walk on eggshells. I mean, this shit's real, and then it puts you in a different set of mind. So what her role is yet to be seen. And I do believe that they do have, the DA was saying that they do have a lot of witnesses to the crime, quote unquote crime. They don't have a body, but we do have here in California. We do have a lot of good cases that have been convicted with no body. California has a good record with no body crimes, and it's been getting more common here. So that it's not too concerning. That's not like it's not really concerning me too much that they don't have a body. I think with California, it has a good track record of no body crimes being prosecuted. Um, but there's other things, moving parts that I'm still wondering about, and that's going to be interesting to kind of see that. Um, Let me read the chat. Yeah, so let me see. Also, because Vanessa's mom said Jake would keep her and grandkids isolated, and I believe it. My ex used to do the same. He would beat me and would keep me isolated from seeing or talking to anyone. Danny, thank you so much for sharing your experience. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I know it's not easy to talk about these things, but we have to because sometimes we do have to talk about it sometimes in our experiences firsthand, and because this is true crime, this is a true crime genre. And thank you for sharing that. I know sometimes it's not easy, so we respect that. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Let me put that comment back up because you said something key is um, they isolate you. They want to isolate you. Why? Because they want you to be dependent emotionally, physically, financially to them. So they isolate you from your family, from your friends, from your hobbies, sports. I mean, this is all the playbook they do. So, yeah, I do believe Jake is a liar, a mastermind manipulator, and it just puts everything into context of him. Um, of how what he did, how he did things, and stuff like that. And I do want to be able to at least give light to that, the domestic violence, the narcissism in people. I do want to at least touch on the, every so often we cover this case because I do believe that does play a big role, and I do believe that played a big role in his ex, Vanessa, as we heard from the grandma. The grandma's very believable, very. I mean, I believe the grandma because there are certain, grandmas have certain things that they have intuition. They have, a different feel for their daughter, for the baby, things like that. So they see things differently than what somebody else would see, in my opinion. There's certain questions, um, of course, there's questions about the grandma. There's questions about everything. But for the most part, I do believe that the story that the grandma was saying, that Vanessa's mom, is mostly true. I think there's nothing in there that's out of the extreme or out of the ordinary. So I do want to touch on that domestic violence, the manipulation, the narcissism, and yeah, this case is just man, this case is just wild, you know. And my channel seems to have a lot of facts. No, we don't do that. It takes away from the uh, from the flow of the conversation, and see, and now I have to talk about it and things like that, and it just sidetracks me, and it puts me in a different, like, it just puts me in a different thing, though. But thank you for asking. I really appreciate that. So yeah, a couple rules, don't mention other creators while you're in here. I really appreciate that. Keep it respectful, which you are. um and yeah, we'll go from there. But yeah, thanks for asking. I appreciate that. Thank you. Let's go to neighbor girl. Yeah, if I bring them up, yeah, for sure. If I bring them up, I'm giving them kudos. I'm sharing their live. Yeah, for sure. Like, let's go. But it kind of just takes away from the channel. It takes away from my flow. It takes away from what we're doing. But yeah, thank you. Let's catch up on chat. Again, thank you everybody for being here. Really appreciate it. Um, we're just talking about my experience in the courtroom. Thank you, Louise. I'm much better now, thank God. He was with me the whole time. 28, I left him when I was 19. Wow, 3 babies left and never look back. That's the thing you got to do is just take off and never look back. Yeah, I do have an email. Let me post it up for you in a second, okay? I just did an email dedicated to the channel. Yeah, definitely. Sorry you had to experience that experience, but I'm glad you freaking took off and just never looked back. It's refreshing because when you're in it, you don't know what you're in, right? Your mind tells you one thing, but when you're at a situation like that, it's like a fresher breath air, and you're like, "Why did I wait so long? Why did I do this?" But they get a whole. They're manipulators. Narcissists are manipulators, master manipulators. That's what they do. That's what they thrive on. That's their whole living existence. Left my DNA so I don't go missing. Right on. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, yeah, for sure. I'll send the link or my email. Let me see. My opinion, Louise says, my opinion is based on what Dr. John stated about Jake possibly injuring baby Emmanuel and not. Oops, that was an interesting comment. I wanted to read it. And not letting Emmanuel seek medical treatment out of fear of Ellie because of his previous kid. See that right there? I'm glad you brought that up because what did we hear from the grandmother that Jake was threatening Vanessa, right? And I'm glad we're touching on this and we're touching avenues. It's okay. Regardless of what you feel, what you think. I want to talk about it. It's okay. I want this to be a safe space where we can talk about opinions like this because I feel like it's important. So what did he was saying? What was he saying? To Vanessa, I'll make sure you never see your kids and you go to jail for the rest of your life, right? So that's a very good point. Thank you for that. Yeah, hit the like button, please. Let me drop the link right now. Just I'm gonna grab some water and talk amongst yourself. Let me grab some water because my mouth is just getting it's just getting just getting dry. Give me 1 second, okay? Let me just grab some water. Okay, yeah. So this is Nikki Chang. This is the case I was talking about earlier. This is like one of the ones that were more in the media, and her husband got arrested 15 months after, quote unquote, disappeared. Well, yeah, she did disappear. So, um, and that was a no body crime. Her body still hasn't been recovered, hasn't been found. But California, in Redding, California, they still prosecuted him. So that's a good example of a no body crime. And I think what that is, I wanted to touch on that too, because I mean that's what it's going to be with this case. It's going to be a no body crime. I don't know if they're going to be able to find the body in time and to process it to whatever they do to um what does he say? A mod for another woman creator. Oh, that's cool. Right on. So let me see. Just catch up on chat. So yeah, I mean this case is moving. Case is just going forward fast, and I'm glad everybody's along the ride with me. But shoot, what happened to my computer? Yeah, but they arrested this. All right, it's just reconnecting. Danny says definitely a mother's worst fear to be without her children, but only God knows. Hopefully, justice is done here by baby Emmanuel. Justice for Promise was a slap on the wrist. Amen. Yeah, it was. It really was. And it's heartbreaking. I mean, you have a chance to put this guy away for 25 to life, or even 6 years. Uh, and you start digging through what happened, the penal code, who the DA was, things like that. And I get that the DA is blaming the judge and throwing the judge under the bus, but it's also that we will, as you will see, the DA is going to have to present their case on the what did we say, the 17th. The 17th is going to be the first preliminary hearing, so it's up to the DA. Yeah, the judge had ultimately the end result, the end uh, judgment. Oh yeah, I don't know. I just my computer's kind of crashes. It's just yeah, I went off for a little bit, huh? So I don't know what you guys heard, but I'm just talking about the nobody. That they arrested this POS guy, and hopefully you can hear me now. And this it's gonna. I'm saying that this case is, and you better believe that the DA should have his ducks in a row. You know, September 17th. They're going to have to present in front of the judge, if there's enough evidence, and the judge decides if they want to move forward. So this picture right here is just from Nikki Chang. She hasn't been found. Um, Missing from Redding, California. and her husband got charged with her disappearance, with her murder, because they found evidence. They found evidence that she just didn't walk away and leave. Same with Emmanuel. He's not going to walk away and leave. So that was a big key that the DA was saying. But it's going to be interesting what kind of evidence they have, and I believe that. I believe that the car is going to be a key piece of the evidence. I know that a lot of people were speculating that maybe he died in the house, maybe, but I believe he might have died in the car. That's just my opinion. I think he died in the car from the heat, because when I was up there, I didn't have any heat in my truck, and it gets super hot. So imagine if you leave a baby in the car for like 10, 20 minutes. I mean, you're done. So I think that's what happened. In my opinion, I think that's one scenario, that baby Emmanuel, he died in the car, and since he died in the car, they had to leave. They had to, uh, sorry for the words, but dispose of his body. And that was another theory that came to my mind. Maybe they did, or Jake just threw him out, on the freeway. Because another point that I want to make too is that I went to the landfill to where supposedly the trash gets picked up from. I went to, it's called Land Canyon landfill, to inquire if there was any. Can you guys hear me? Just want to make sure you hear me. Okay, cool. Thank you. So I did go to the landfill while I was out there, and I was asking around for. Well, I asked, when you enter, if there has been any investigations, any law enforcement presence, covering the case. Trying to, see. I didn't ask for footage or anything like that, or try to go on site and be like, "Hey, let me search," or anything like that. No, I was asking questions. I was being very respectful, and so I just asked them, "Has there been any law enforcement investigators out here to search for the missing baby Emmanuel?" And you know what they said? They said, "We can't comment on that. We can't answer any questions." So that was that. I don't know what that meant. I don't know if there's something there that they're not telling us, but they just said they can't answer any questions. I mean, usually they'll say, "No, nothing. I mean, nothing's been going on," right? I would imagine, but they just straight up told me we can't answer any questions. Um, and they gave me a number to call, like the office, like the main office, but I'm sure they're just going to tell me the same thing. We can't answer any questions. If they're telling them they can't answer questions, what's good? What makes me think that they're going to answer my questions, right? Hey, Cindy, how you doing? Welcome in. Appreciate you coming in. Uh, Try to inquire about if there were any investigations. I didn't try to go in and try to search or anything like that, or try to, get footage or cameras or anything like that, or I just went in and asked questions because I was already there after the courtroom. I went to the memorial. There was a poster about Emmanuel's Law. I'll get the QR code. The lady that was like running it was there. She was putting up posters and fixing the posters and stapling the posters. I mean, she was on it, and I thanked her. I said thank you for that. And there's a poster, a big one, and she said that it's Emmanuel's Law. They're trying to pass it, and they've already got over 10,000 signatures, Emmanuel's law. I was like, wow. So I want to check that out, and as soon as I do, but yeah, she said there's over 10,000 signatures already. Hi. So that was interesting. Being there, memorial, I try to go to places of the off the Highway 60 where they did the search. I believe 2 days after that was an interesting area. And you know what they say, right? Everybody that's been in the true crime community, you all know, right, that there's always a little bit truth to the lie. When they tell you a little bit of lie, for example, like Richard Allen, oh yeah, I was at the trails, yeah, but I wasn't at the bridge, right? I mean, there's a little truth to that. So with the search, I think there's a little truth to that. Whatever that may be, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Luis Cuevas. Yeah, over 10,000 signatures. There's a poster over there at the memorial. I have the QR code. I'll post it up as soon as I can because I want to look at it. She says there's like a $3 donation that you don't have to do as long as you don't have to do the $3. Me personally, I probably will, but that's up to you. That's your prerogative. She just said signatures. Over 10,000 already to try to pass Emmanuel's law. Let me look over comments. Um, let's see. But yeah, there's a lot of support out there. A lot of good people. There is bad, but then there you see the good in everybody. For one bad apple, there's like 30,000 good people. Um, so sometimes I'm like, man, humanity just sucks. It just sucks. But then you start to see the people that come out in support, and you kind of feel a little bit better about the situation. And I really hope the DA, the judge, they do their job, they do their due diligence, they get their evidence, and present it in a fashion where we can say, yeah, we get it, you are guilty. Or, you know what? There's not enough evidence to prosecute. For example, on the Karen Reed case, there wasn't enough evidence. They did not present it. Even though I believe she's guilty, I believe she ran him over, whether she was intentional or not. She did run over, in my opinion, but just there wasn't enough evidence to convict her, and I respect that because if there's not, how am I going to make a decision to lock somebody up if there's not enough evidence? Just because I believe it doesn't mean it to be true, right? So if that's the case, I mean, I want to see what happened. And I'm set your notifications, set all notifications, because when I get out of the courtroom that day, I'm going to try to be there again early, or I'm going to try to get there the day before or something, and to try to make both days because they're going to be back to back. So I'm still trying to figure out. And if you want to support the channel, if you want to support me going there, that's going to go towards gas, food, ice. I have a cooler. I get ice and things like that. It's not required, but it is greatly appreciated. And again, thank you, Kate. Thank you, RC, for AC for your donations. Thank you for the laptop. And it's really been helping out the channel. It's been helping out for the cause for justice and moving things along with this because the case is moving fast, and I need something to keep up with it fast. Danny says, "Okay, yeah, I read that one. Thanks for the email. Yeah, no problem. Just email me some things. I could Google creator and that I'm not gonna. To be honest, I'm not gonna see it. I'm really not gonna see it unless it's an article, unless it's a document from the courtroom, things like that. And mean, if it's just a creator, I mean, I could, but if you have documents, if you have a family member's number, I mean, let's go, let's do it, you know. But other than that, honest, I'm not really not going to look at it. I just don't have the time to later while I'm doing my own research, and I don't want to my thoughts with another creator's thoughts. And that's just how I want to do things. I want to get into the habit of trying to find files, trying to correct resources, trying to get FOIA requests, things like that. You know, so I can bring you some good. And when you get that, it's okay. You can speculate. You can have your opinions. Let's see. Kim says, okay, Kim says, I don't think Rebecca had a hand in the murder itself, but she didn't do anything to prevent it, which is probably why she got charged with it. See, that's a really appreciate that. Thank you, everybody. Keep your comments coming. These are great comments. You have a lot of good insight. Some of you have firsthand experience with domestic violence, and thank you for sharing that. If you're not comfortable, that's okay. I'm not pushing that on you or try to, exploit that. No, not at all. I would never do that. But if you want to share, then that's up to you to give us insight on it. Yeah, see, that's where I'm conflicted too. It's like I don't know if you have your hand in the murder, but then you didn't prevent it, or if you didn't prevent. I mean, there's just so many questions, right? So many unknowns at this point. But that's a very good comment. Thank you, Kim. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Who's getting ready for work? Who said that? Let me see if I can scroll up. Oh, Cindy. All right, right on, Cindy. Right on. Thank you. Appreciate you always coming in, saying hi, um, and listening to my firsthand perspective on Jake and Rebecca and them in court. What the judge was saying, what the lawyers were saying, what other people were saying. So, thank you. Just catching up on chat. So leave a comment. Leave a comment. Leave a question if you have a question about what I saw in the courtroom or what I heard or anything like that. That's not what it was. Yeah, this computer is being slow. Let me see if I exit some programs. Just give me 1 second and exit programs. Stuff open right now. A lot of video. All right, there we go. Watch. Yeah, the computer can just exit some programs because I did have a lot of stuff open. It was running smooth until I started, Um, a lot of tabs. 2 years ago, but he passed with a heart attack. Whoa. Yeah, the connection's slow now. I'm not sure what just happened. I mean, it was going smooth a second ago. Can you guys hear me okay? For the trips, I know my truck has this thing where was the first trip and the second. Yeah, they can. They can definitely do that. Especially now, newer vehicle model, the new. The DA didn't charge him in the first case. Yeah, Kim. Yeah, that was wild. I mean, undercharging him like that, just giving probation. Pretty much go pick up trash, go play basketball at the YMCA, go feed the homeless. I mean, yeah, that was just ridiculous, especially for what evidence they represented, right? If it was just his word against her word. Okay, let's go back to the chat. Justice for Emmanuel, yeah, definitely. A lot went wrong. Yeah, a lot. Um, who the lawyers were, who the players were, who the judges. What Rebecca and Jake were doing in the court, what I saw, what I heard. We touched on a little bit on the Turpin case. You can check that out on your own time. There's a lot out there on that case. So I just wanted to mention it because the lawyers for that case are representing Jake and Emmanuel. And I know it was confusing at the beginning because I was confused when they had one lawyer, but that was only for the last hearing, not the hearing that just came by, but the one before that. He represented both. Um, Only for that hearing. So now, fast forward to yesterday, presenting Jack and Rebecca. So I wanted to follow up on that too because I was confused myself. And yeah, so the judges, Mr. Moore and Allison Lowe, and they look ready. They look ready for battle. Uh, That's great news about a law in his name. Yeah, definitely. Over 10,000 signatures. I'm just catching up on chat. I'm a little behind. I'm sorry, guys. Um, and I dropped my email. Make sure you email me some good things. Um, Special thanks to I did say that. Okay, the landfill. Yeah, I did mention the landfill. Going down my list. Thank you, Native Girl. List help out. So I went to the landfill. Special thanks and my email. The lawyers. The nobody. We went over that too, and we went over a case in California that was. So we went over that. Yeah, we went over a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff today. So I'm really happy with this live. I'm really happy with the information. Kate, you finally made it. You finally made it. Thank you so much. I gave special thanks to you earlier. If you're just joining me, I wanted to say thank you so much again for your donation. It went far. Really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Grab some water. Native Girl says the next hearing should be very interesting. Hopefully, we hear info that hasn't been released yet. I think so. They have to have evidence um, for the judge to say, yeah, there's enough evidence for me to move forward. And the thing with that is going to be tricky because uh, the day before that, on the 16th, is they're going to have conference. Excuse me. So pretty much what that is that the lawyers, the DA, the judge are going to go into chambers and they're going to discuss things. They're going to discuss possible plea. That is part of the process. I'm not saying that's going to happen because the DA already mentioned last week that they're not interested in a plea. But we've seen before where, for example, in the Koberger case, right? They had tons of evidence, and what did they do in the end? They gave him a plea deal. So right now, I'm not even gonna say there's not gonna be or there is gonna be. I don't know until that day because we've seen that before. We've seen where they have enough evidence and they still get a plea, and then you know. But I do want I I would love for them to put the death penalty on them just so it goes over, hangs over their head. Yeah, the Karen Reed Cindy. Yeah, same. I said earlier that I do believe she is guilty, but they didn't present enough evidence. So I have to respect that. I mean, how are you going to try to lock some? The jury is saying, yeah, we definitely agree with the prosecution, and they didn't do that. Just catching up on chat. Kate says, Kim, I felt so bad for Karen. Those Canton police are a disgrace. Thank goodness for Alan Jackson and the team. Yeah. And that, again, we have different opinion. I have an opinion, that before the case, I believe she was guilty, came out innocent. She's a free woman, so that's that. I mean, it is what it is. The DA better not mess up. What does it say? This time for Emmanuel. Yep, I agree. And I think that's why they're like kind of upset with like sleuthers and keyboard warriors they call, um, because they don't want you to go out there, and that kind of what makes me believe that maybe he is out there and maybe he's not at the landfill. I have a feeling of like, okay, maybe he is out there somewhere. Because they did say they have a, what do they say? They do have a strong belief of where he is, of where his remains are. So that's an interesting point. Kim says 2 juries. Yeah, 2 juries. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. And that was for the Karen Reed case. All right. Just catching up. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. Make sure you hit the subscribe, like, and share if you like. And if you'd like to help support the channel for my next trip to go out to Riverside, it goes a long way. It's not required, but it is appreciated. Danny says, "I always wonder how these defense attorneys." Yeah, Danny, it's a different thing, but it's um yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's if you're innocent too, that's the thing too. You would want your lawyer to represent you and to help you not get convicted of something you didn't do. I see that side too. It's like, well, you didn't do anything. You didn't do it, so you want someone to represent you to your to in your favor. Whether they believe it or not that their client is guilty or not, I don't know. I don't know how that works or what goes on in their head, but yeah, it's very interesting, right? To try to defend somebody that you might think that they are really, really guilty or not. So that's a good comment, Danny. Thank you. All right, just catching up. Yeah, I think it's my internet connection, Kate. It's a little slow. I'm gonna call my company again. Uh, I did upgrade it, but I upgraded for downloading. The uploading speed is a little bit better, but not like I would think so. So I'll call them again and see if what plans they have for putting the information out. Uh, Kim says OJK's arm, nothing on the tail light pieces, and the missing 6 pints of blood. And I was what? Yeah, yeah, a lot of weird things in that case. Just catching up on chat. Let's see. Welcome back. Welcome back. Yeah, this internet is just dragging along. I'm not sure why. I turned off all my other devices. Tripping me out. Yeah, I'm definitely out. The download speed's it's great. I can do some things, but just when I start to file share. Kate says Donna, what is this? Donna Anderson's defense team won't be able to sleep for a month. So many trials and not enough hours in the day. Yeah, so many trials. Yep. So I try to focus on on what the trial branches. I don't know. I mean, it's just hard to keep up with everything. Danny, have a blessed day, everyone, and God bless. See y'all. Gotta go. Okay, Danny, thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate it. Thank you for your input. You have a good rest of your day. Okay, yeah. See, now the computer's going smooth now. All right. Hey, Carrie, how you doing? Welcome. Appreciate you coming in. All right, the computer seems good. Just going over some things of what I saw in the courtroom. Went over the what is it, Turning case? That case is wild. I mean, there's a lot of videos out there of the body cam footage. There's a lot of case photos on that. I'm not going to be able to touch on that today. I wanted to touch on, a lot. I wanted to cover a lot today, and we did. Covered like 16th September 17th. I want to see what they have because I mean, they seem confident, which I don't see Rebecca and Jake being these mastermind criminals that are gonna fool law enforcement, fool the DA, fool the sheriff's office, fool the forensics. And with a nobody case, that's what you're gonna have to rely on is forensics, metadata, or what they call it. Yeah, I mean pretty much digital evidence, timelines, um, and alibis too. Like okay, so you were here, but nobody's witness to it. We have a witness saying that we saw the baby on August 4th, August 3rd, because that's what the document's saying is they're on of or after August 4th to I forget what date it was off the top of my head. I have to look at my notes. That baby Emmanuel succumbed to his wounds. So then the timelines too. That's why I push the timelines so much because I want people to understand on this date this happened, on this date the arrest happened, the day before the arrest this happened, a week after or 2 days after the searches were going. And when you start to see the timeline, you start to see a clearer picture of what's going on. And now we had a preliminary hearing. I'm sorry, a plea hearing. I apologize. Yesterday, which I was in there, Jake and Rebecca. We are looking forward to and looking at later dates. We're looking at September 16th a little bit. Excuse me. Grab some water. They come across a pair of numbnuts. Numbnuts, that's a funny word. I don't know why I find that so funny. I just grab some water. Um, yeah, they do come across like that. They really do. And, I agree with you. I don't think these from their interviews. Remember the infamous video of them saying, that their baby was abducted, kidnapped. The way they talk to the media, the way they said it doesn't seem like it does opinion that they're going to fool law enforcement. They're not going to fool the district attorney's office. In my opinion, I don't think they're going to fool the sheriff's department. It just doesn't seem like they are so smart and cunning and just being, put here so that they can say they were there and changing the metadata. It's like I just don't see that happening. But it'll be interesting. I think, in my opinion, I do think the car is going to play a role. I had a theory after looking at everything that maybe baby Manuelito died in the car, and from there they took him out into somewhere, and just did what they did. That was one of the fears that I had. I'm kind of with the whole landfill thing. I haven't seen really much out there. I haven't seen much of a presence out there. I haven't seen really much on like good sources and media about the landfill. So I'm like 50-50, but I did want to explore more areas and more theories about what they might have done, could have done that, to his body or where his remains, because the DA is saying that they have strong belief that they know where the remains are. And if they do believe that they're in the landfill, I would believe that they would be searching out there. You would see that helicopters, things like that, and that landfill isn't as crazy as some of the other ones that I've seen. But because there's not really a high traffic landfill area. So, in my opinion, I would see more of a presence out there. I did see more of a presence off the 16th. And yeah, they didn't pull the cashier in the big five. Yeah, right. 100%. And even the manager that came forward was like, no, I mean, Jake was like, yeah, definitely. So that was one of the theories I had on that. And like I said, I just didn't see too much of a presence there, either online or even talking to, the TikTokers that were there too. We would bounce off ideas, we would bounce off theories, we would bounce off, what do you think happened? What do you think's going on? What do you think might happen? Things like that. Yeah, that's funny. That is funny. Um, but a lot of the TikTokers there, or before I go into that, yeah. So I did go over to the landfill, and yeah, I don't know. I could see that happening, but when I was at the house, I did see their trash cans still there. I would imagine that they would have taken the trash can to for forensics. It's just in my it's just in my opinion. Yeah, Native Girl says, yeah, definitely a slippery slope, and definitely went downhill for that for sure. I do agree on that, and it just goes to show that some of these criminals are dumb. When they try to do things like that and try to fool the public, try to fool law enforcement, it's like, come on. I do wish that there were other cases that kind of moved a little bit quicker with where we see things and we're like, no, this is obvious. But at the same time, I see why law enforcement is careful because, for example, look at the Jack and Lily case. How some new documents came out, and it was saying that there's no criminal, there's nothing criminal in there. If I'm reading that right, I don't quote me. I want to look at the documents, but from what I was seeing, it was saying that they passed their polygraph test. They are not considering the RCMP is not considering a criminal case. But in the beginning, everybody thought or thinks or still thinks that they had something to do with it. Negligence, I think so. Wandered off, yeah. I mean, so many possibilities, but that's the thing. You have to present it. You have to have evidence for that kind of thing. I'm still neutral on that. I'm still kind of on the fence about it, but they did come out with catch up on chat. Look at how today off, or I would have missed the live too. Oh, that's cool. Thank you, Karen. Appreciate you coming in. Um, if you want me to uh, talk about, what I saw in the courtroom or have any questions, just drop it in the comment section, and I'll try my best to answer them as best as same thing. Oh yeah, the barrels. Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not too sure what those barrels are, but when you're out there in like rural areas, it's not uncommon to see that type of thing for trash and disposal and water. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they would be used for, especially like knowing the circumstances behind everything. Right after everything we know, it's just we see things differently. Ted Bundy passed a polygraph test, admissible in court because you can pass a polygraph test. You can fool the lie detector test. They're not reliable source in court, but they are a tool for law enforcement. So take it as you will. Oh, okay, Karen, cool. Yeah, and I wouldn't mind doing things for people who follow the channel. They're on a very slippery slope. Yep. And Native Girl asked about the barrels. Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, very strange, very weird. Just grab some water. Yeah, a lot of people play this on replay, which is pretty cool, and I appreciate the replay crew because everybody's in. Uh, so I really, really appreciate the crew. Mustang, great, great live. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we went over a bunch of stuff today. Appreciate that, Mustang. All the mods for keeping it cool in here. Appreciate it. Just going through chat. It's the lawyer. So I was waiting there for a press conference, lawyers or for the DA or for somebody to and give a statement. We were waiting for nothing. They said no comment after. So everybody just took off, and I took off too because I was hungry. Rebecca, I saw Rebecca drive up to a trash dumpster, throwing away a big bag, black bag. She was in a white. I've heard about it. I haven't really seen it. If I'm not hearing that from I mean, I would imagine. That type of stuff would be blown all over my feed because I follow, the Sun, L.A. Times, New York Times. It's like $1 for them, $6 for the Sun. Um, to read articles like that, I would imagine that they would say something. So I don't think that's her, in my opinion, just because I haven't seen anything, and I would imagine it'd be blown up by now. But I'll check it out. I don't mind checking it out. All right, finally caught up on chat. That's cool. All right, everybody. I think that's going to be it. I caught up on chat. Thank you, everybody, for joining in today. We went over a lot. And for the 2 hearings, I have to figure it out. I have to plan it. And, if you like to help support the channel, there's my Cash App, my Venmo. And if you need PayPal, I can send it to you. Again, it's not required, but it is appreciated. It'll go towards, gas, food, and stuff like that on my way up there. Nothing crazy, but any little bit helps, and any little bit, great or small, is appreciated. So I want to say thank you to everybody that came in to say hi, to stop by before they went to work. I want to thank the replay crew, Lewis, Carrie, just everybody, Kate, everybody help support the channel. And I'll see everybody next time. Thank you. Goodbye. Bye.